Hey, welcome to the Delayed Gratification Podcast, where we talk about building wealth through inspiration, through systems, and our guests are super amazing. Today, I got somebody special for y'all. Listen, I'm going to jump right in. Can you introduce yourself to us?
Absolutely. So my name is Chant. I'm the owner of Creative Multiple Commas. And what I do is help aspiring entrepreneurs add an additional stream of income with Airbnb.
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 Ooh, now I hear a lot of people talking about Airbnb. I'm going to check the history first. I want to see how you got here.
Okay.
But before we jump into that, before we figure out where Chant came from,
Okay.
what is delayed gratification to you?
So delayed gratification, when I think about that, the first word that comes to my mind is discipline. I can honestly say that delayed gratification is actually something that I've been doing since I became grown. Since I was 19, 20, I always recognized not always jumping at what you think you want, because sometimes you got to wait. Sometimes you got to make sure you're ready for it. So I think it's just all about having discipline, making sure that you can invest what you need to invest or work harder to get whatever it is you really want and make sure that you can keep it and retain it.
I love it. I love it. So Airbnb, how did you get started? Were you born with rental properties? I mean, let's start from the beginning, Chant.
Okay. So story. When I first heard about Airbnb, I had a friend, a very close friend. She's like a sister. She lived here, moved up north, and she rents her house out. She lives in New Jersey. And so she's always coming down 2 months, 3 months at a time, because people rent her house out for months. So anyway, she called me up like, hey, girl, Super Bowl is coming to Atlanta. And she's like, you need to put your house on Airbnb.
Your personal house?
Yeah, she was like, you need to put your house. You got a 5-bedroom house. You need to put that on there. And I'm like, girl. She was like, listen, it's people up here with empty apartments, and all they getting is an air mattress, and they getting $8,000 and $10,000 for the weekend.
How long ago was this?
Oh gosh, Super Bowl. Whew, I would say at least. So we've been in the pandemic 2 years. I would say at least 5-6 years ago or something. So that was when I first listed it. But I still wasn't totally comfortable because, like you said, that's my personal house. So I'm toying with it. I don't know about that. My family, they okay with it, but
Oh, you mean somebody else was staying there? Like y'all was staying there?
Yeah. Yes. She rents out her home and gets upwards $8,000-$10,000 a month all the time. They put all their stuff in the basement, lock it up, and she'll come down to Atlanta and stay down here with her family for like 2-3 months at a time.
And let somebody else pay the bills. Wow.
Yep, and able to live in a whole nother state. So anyway, me personally, not too comfortable with necessarily doing it in my personal home, but then I found out about rental arbitrage.
Okay.
And so I said, as soon as I heard about that, I'm researching online, I'm studying, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm about to do this now. So I got a unit like within the first 30 days.
What is rental arbitrage?
Rental arbitrage is where you basically take somebody else's property. And it could be any kind of property. It could be a condo, a townhouse, a house, apartment. And so you lease the property, and then you take that property and you list it on the short-term rental platform, and then you make money from it.
So it's really like subleasing.
Yeah, basically.
In a sense.
If that's the way you define it, yeah.
But you're using Airbnb to fill it.
Yep. And what most people, so we all talk about our Airbnb business, but what most people don't realize is you're really starting a short-term rental business or either property management. And so there are hundreds of platforms online. So Airbnb is just one of many.
I didn't know that.
So Airbnb is the biggest, it's the most popular. But there are so many other sites that'll keep you consistently booked. So yeah, so you just list it on different short-term rental sites, and then you make money.
So you started by arbitraging, by leasing somebody else's unit.
That's when I really, really started. Yes, and I'll tell you what happened. So I just grabbed an apartment. I said, let me see if this thing worked. Grabbed a little apartment. It was like $1,249 a month. And I furnished it. Cost me maybe like $2,500 to furnish it. And I listed it on Airbnb. Very first month out the gate, I made $3,399. My net that month was $2,005.
Wow.
off of an apartment.
Off an apartment. So the first month or two, you got
Very
all your
first
money
month.
back for the furnishings and the
Within
deposits.
45 days, I had all my 100% return on investment back.
I heard arbitraging was illegal.
It's not.
It's not illegal?
It's not illegal. Now, I will say this. Some people are in certain cities where they have ordinances in place.
Okay.
So that may mean you might have to get a permit. They may limit how many properties you can get. So there may be some kind of restrictions. But personally, I've never seen where it's actually illegal or banned or anything like that.
Got it. So it's wording and setting it up properly. You teach us that. You teach that, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So I definitely teach in my program that whichever city you're thinking about. So we talk about how to find the profitable cities and then go to their websites and make sure that you're looking up those rules and regulations so that you don't go spend all this money and then find out that you can't do it.
So don't just listen to them.
Don't just listen to them. You need to check it out for yourself.
Let's go back to this first one. So got the first one. You got your money back within 45 days. That's crazy.
I made $2,000 net the first month and the second month. And so, of course, we were looking at each other like, oh, yeah, we got to go get at least 5 more of these.
Because you just take that same money and do another one, get your money back, take the same one, do
So
another
I
one.
take the same strategy that you would do with real estate or anything else. Because that's really what I was doing. I really was about to deep dive into wholesaling and fix and flipping.
Okay.
And I was watching a guy one night and he was like, you know, the new thing now, if you want to maximize your money, is not, you know, fixing and flipping or buying and holding a property and putting a long-term tenant in there. He's like, you need to turn it into a short-term rental so you can 5 times your money. And so when I'm looking at that, I'm like, that makes so much sense to me. So anyway, fast forward, because the money that you can charge, let's say you get a long-term tenant, you're putting them in there for like $1,500 or $1,600 a month. But with short-term rental, let's just say even if it's minimum, $100 a day.
Okay.
It's 30 days in a month. That's $3,000. So even if you were just only charging $100 a day.
That's low.
That's low.
That's real.
You know, we charge more than that. But let's just say you were only charging $100. You're getting $3,000 a month on average.
Minus your expenses.
Minus your expenses.
Okay.
So if your expenses make sense, and so that's the other thing, like if you're in California or New York, people are always like, oh, it's so high to live. Yeah, but if the cost of living is higher, that means you also can charge more money per night. When somebody is coming to New York, they know that they're not going to get a hotel for $100 a night.
Correct.
They know they're going to have to spend $400, $500, $600 a night.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. So cost of living is higher, and also the money you make is higher too.
A little bit, huh? A little bit. So let's go back to this. So you got the first one.
Yep.
Then you started adding.
So
when was this? How long ago was this? Like your first one?
This was just at the height of the pandemic.
You mean
So
like
when people were losing their losing their Airbnb businesses during the pandemic, I started mine and was scaling.
So 2 years ago, 2 years ago. What is 2020?
Yep.
Are you serious?
Yes.
So how were you 2020? Got my first one, got my second one.
So fast forward that sprint, like a couple of months into that, All-Star Weekend came. And I heard and got a couple of them for just specifically to be in place before that, even listed the house, everything. I only wound up having 3 by that time.
Okay.
Just off that All-Star Weekend, I made like $9,000 in one weekend.
1 weekend?
1 weekend.
Wow.
So when you have big events like concerts like Beyonce and All-Star Weekend or just whatever is coming, you can make some serious
I'm going to start moving out my house. I'm moving out. So 9,000 one weekend.
1 weekend.
Then you went and got another one.
I've been getting them ever since. But now so I have always been a big proponent of owning though, because I own property. Yeah, because I own properties.
Okay.
And so for me, my goal or what I always want to do is just own them.
Yes.
And so especially now with Atlanta considering putting in some restrictions, I'm like, yeah, I just need to switch out all my arbitrage to the ones that I own, because with those, I mean, I'm the boss, they're mine, so I don't have to get anybody's permission.
So are you still, I know you say you started buying, but are you still getting new arbitrages? Or?
No.
Okay. Why not?
Well, maybe. Well, let me take that back, because I do have one that is about 50 minutes from the city, and
50 minutes.
and it does really well.
Why?
And because that particular area is definitely a very thriving area.
Okay.
It's right next to a major hospital. Okay. And so this is the other thing. When you first get into business, you're going to want to like maximize profits and turnover a lot. But as you scale, you're going to want what I call the long-term, short-term money. So now I love the long-term guests, but I still get the short-term fee.
What do you mean by that? You say long-term, short-term.
So like this particular unit, I have somebody in there till the spring. So she's been in there since spring of earlier this year.
So it's a year. Okay.
But at the short-term price.
Wow.
Yep. So with monthlies, they're going to want a little bit of a discount. So I get a consistent, on that unit, I get a consistent $1,100 net every single month. So you're talking about all expenses paid and then $1,100 just
Come
net.
home. $1,100 coming home.
And we never have to go clean it. We never have to do inventory. We don't have to do anything. Well, I shouldn't say anything. We do have to go change out the batteries in the Ring doorbell.
Okay.
And the lock sometimes, like every quarter. But yeah, we just forget about it.
What? Ooh, that's nice. $1,100 a month.
And if you own it, so if she's paying your mortgage, plus you're getting an extra $1,100 a month, and you forget about it. Like I forget I even have it.
That's how much money you got. That's because you got so much money.
No, You can never have enough.
What made you choose that one? So you were arbitraging. Of course, you own your own. But what made you say, you know what, I'm going to go 50 miles away? Like, what is that? And you know what? Give me a tip on how I pick where I'm going with Airbnb.
So you always want to check AirDNA. That is like our go-to for everything.
That's inside of Airbnb or that's something else?
It's a whole separate site. So that's the cool thing I tell everybody about Airbnb or short-term rental in general. You have hundreds of companies that have created $1 million businesses all around this short-term rental model. And one of them is this site called AirDNA. So Dog, Nancy, Apple. And you can go on that site. You can actually even put in an address. It will tell you how much money you're going to make off of it, how often you're probably going to stay booked. It tells you everything you need to know about that address.
That's cheating.
What do you mean?
Does it cost to be on that site?
No. So if you want access to all of the data, yes. But I teach my students how to utilize just the free data. Because literally it gives you rental demand. It gives, so for example, I'll give you, Nashville is a place I've always been interested in because my son went to Tennessee State. Up there, like for example, I know the data on this. It says, okay, so 92% of the rentals are homes. They're single family properties. So it even tells you what type of property you need to get, what the rental demand is. It's going to give you the average nightly rate, and it also gives you the average occupancy as well.
Wow. You know your stuff.
Oh yeah, I study.
I'm gonna bring us up to date. So you when did you start buying? What was the first one that you bought? So you got some arbitrage rentals, right? What was the first one that you bought to put on Airbnb or as a short-term rental?
So I already had properties that I owned, so I just listed those.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I added. So now I'm into buying property, which you to go with this, buying properties under my LLC.
Okay.
And so like I recently added a duplex that is. So we're still remodeling it, but we're going to put that one on there too.
Where's that duplex?
It's right in Decatur, not far from East Lake. So it's like right. Thank you. It's right heart of the city.
So is it hard to put properties in your LLC? Like how is if you were to say right now, because most people have an LLC because it's a popular thing to have an LLC,
right?
But they're not buying real estate in their LLC.
Yep.
And a lot of lenders won't touch that. So was that difficult for you to get financed in your LLC?
It was the easiest process of buying that I have ever done.
Wow.
And I have bought a property all cash before, meaning we didn't have to have a bank or anything. Yes. We just bought it. But the LLC, that was the easiest one.
Why do you say it was the easiest?
Because all I had to have was 3 documents. I had to show them I had an LLC.
Okay.
I had to show them an operating agreement, and I had to show them I had the proof of funds. That's it. Normally, they want to know everything about your firstborn child. They want to know if you got a large deposit on your bank statement. They want to know where that came from.
Yes.
You know, just all kind. But no, it was so simple. I was shocked.
So do you think, when people talk about their LLCs, was it that your LLC was so strong already? Was it based on you personally? Did you have to personally sign? What made that so easy? Because it's a lot of people want to go out and buy a piece of real estate with the LLC, but they're not set up properly.
Right. So I always talk about you do need to have your LLC structured properly. I will say in this case, they did not ask me, like the bank. So I say you need to have it structured properly just if you want to go after business funding anyway.
Okay.
Right? So what that means by being structured properly is it not looking like a hobby, it not being your home address, it not being your personal cell phone. You need to have some kind of website presence, that kind of stuff. But for this particular process of buying a home, they didn't ask me a lot of details about the LLC. But one thing that you cannot get around, I tell people this all the time, y'all got to get your credit together.
Your personal credit?
Yeah, because you do have to have a minimum. It's not going on your personal credit as a debt, but you do have to have a minimum 650, I believe, in order for them to even consider you for the
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So you went out, you bought this one so this is the new duplex.
Yes.
When you gonna show it to us? Can we do like a walkthrough?
Yeah, we can. I have tenants there though.
Oh, it's tenants already in it.
Yeah.
Like when you bought it? Mm-hmm. Oh, you bought a turnkey duplex.
Yeah.
But you about to put them out so you can do short-term rentals? I ain't gonna say you're gonna put them out when that lease ends. Let me not get you in trouble.
Right.
If y'all the tenant and you watching this, she's not gonna put you out.
Y'all stay in place right now.
Stay in place. But are you going to make both units?
Mm-hmm.
You said a duplex. Both units are going to be short-term, or are you going to keep one?
They're both going to be short-term.
Short-term rentals.
Yeah, because it's in a hot location, so I have to. Just the regular rents over there for that area are like minimum $2,000
For how many bedrooms, bath?
So 3 bedroom, 1 bath on one side, 2 bedroom, 1 bath on the other side. And it's just so funny because I had been looking like Macon and just all other places, but I really wanted one like right in the heart of the city. And so I've just been so thankful and blessed that I was able to get one. Yeah, I was patient. Yeah, definitely.
Gotta be patient.
Took months, but
took months. So now you got that one, and what's next?
I'm gonna keep getting properties. So that's the whole goal now. My focus now is just on acquiring units, minimum duplex.
Okay.
And just to keep adding to the portfolio.
And what about like converting old buildings? Can you convert? Like I've seen smaller hotels, or can you convert those and then do short-term rentals in?
You absolutely can. Small apartment buildings, like you said, converting hotels. This model, that's why, because let's keep it real. The ordinances are coming because the hotels are losing money.
Correct.
So they're lobbying with the politicians to get, to try to beat us back, but it's too late.
But are they really losing money? Because let me tell you what happens when major events are in Atlanta. We don't have enough hotels.
We don't.
Right? Like, what was it? The Georgia-Alabama game. They were saying that there was 400,000 people here. We don't have 400,000 rooms, right?
We don't.
So they probably can't even build enough.
So in times like that, absolutely, it's not enough. It's gonna always be a shortage.
Yes.
But just in general, you think about it, we are direct competition. We have been, now people are booking Airbnbs when traditionally they would have just booked a hotel room. They would not have had it as an option.
Why do you think that's why? What do you get more out of Airbnb that you don't get from the hotel? Is it cheaper?
It's traditionally it was cheaper. I think now they're probably running about the same. But if it's a large group, it's absolutely cheaper. Because you think about it. Okay, you rent a 5-bedroom house. Let's just say it's $1,000 a night. If it's 7 of y'all or 10 of y'all are splitting that.
Yes.
You can't go get an apartment, a 5-bedroom apartment, with the same model where you're going to have kitchen and everything. So I feel like it's cheaper for larger groups. I definitely feel like the privacy factor, especially with COVID, and now some people don't want to be around a whole lot of people. So you have that. It's just a bunch more that you can have personalized within the Airbnb.
Gotcha.
Depending on which one you book.
So I know you said there's other, I don't call it competition, but like other short-term rental, because I know
Platforms.
like nurses, right? There's some things where like people are only dealing with like nurses. Is that something that you deal with, or do you stick with Airbnb?
No, I'm on, and that's what I teach too, being on multiple platforms. So Airbnb is the most popular.
Okay.
It's the biggest, but it also receives the most backlash. So in general, you can't just walk up to somebody and say, hey, I want to Airbnb your house, you know, because Airbnb, the first thing people think of is, oh, somebody's going to have a party and tear up my house, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, you totally don't even have to be on Airbnb at all. Like there's a site called Furnish Finder where it's specific to nurses and medical professionals and business professionals, where you can list your property there and you can take direct bookings.
They probably made a killing during COVID. Like when those traveling nurses was
Yes.
like everywhere.
Yeah, so I've been on Furnish Finder just as long as I've been on Airbnb. So there are tons of sites for you to list on.
Do either one of them sponsor you? Like if you go down to like some sponsorships,
They give really good referrals, I'll say that.
they get good referrals. So when people are calling or looking at Furnish Finder or Airbnb, they will say like you are, I don't say better than somebody else, but you've had good reviews. So
Oh, yes. So on Airbnb, you have something that's called superhost status. Okay. And once you, so if you're superhost, they're going to dangle you at the top. So they're going to say, hey, here's our premier units. This is a superhost. That means they're committed to a 5-star experience. They're committed to the cleaning standards. So yeah, they have a whole rating. They give you money for it, all kind of perks. They market you more than just the regular host. So all of that.
how do you become a super host? Like, can I just start tomorrow and be a super host?
No, but I will say I've had one student get it in 30 days. Yep. So what you do is you have to accept as many bookings as you can.
Okay.
So you have to accept the bookings. You cannot cancel. Like they're to get it, the cancellation is like less than 1%. What is that?
Yeah,
So
I mean, you can't
they're
cancel.
big, right? So they're big on not canceling. So you can't be canceling. They'll even fine you for that. And then you have to begin 5-star reviews from the guests. And let's see, it's the guest rating, it's not canceling, and it's accepting. Yeah, and that's how you get it. And they do it every quarter. So every January 1st, April 1st, that's how you get rated.
Wow.
Yep.
What about the other short term, like the Furnish Finders? Do they have something similar to a super host?
They do have ratings, but it's not the same like Airbnb because with that one, it's more like direct booking. So when somebody books on that particular site, they do have the functionality for you to pay through the site, but it's more like if you were accepting like a direct booking off the platform. But what I love about Furnish Finder is they have built into it where you can do background checks. You could do leases. So they have all of that stuff there for you.
So with Airbnb, they don't do background checks?
I don't think they do.
They say they do?
They say they do. Well, you know what? Let me take that back, though, because now that I think about it, if you have a felony, you can't have an account.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I've had hosts that had an account, and it may not even be them. It could be their spouse, and they will shut the account
Are you
down.
saying if I own a property and
If you list it, if you're the name on the account and you have a felony, they'll shut your account down.
are we listening in our personal name or our business name?
We're listing in our business name if you take my program.
Oh, well, you got some trade secrets going on.
Hey, because for safety reasons, you think about it, it's the same reason why you don't list your home address on your LLC.
Yes.
If same thing with Airbnb, you're going to have somebody that is not going to be pleased.
Correct.
That's just a given. You can't please everybody. So I had a student. It's funny. He listed in our private group. He was like, y'all better make sure y'all pay attention when telling y'all, because he put it in his name. And she got mad just because he left her a 4 out of 5. And do you know this chick stalked him? She looked him up, name, social media, all of that. So you have to be careful because you're dealing with the public and all kind of mental instabilities, you know?
Yeah, yeah. So I want to hear a horror story. Have you had any like bad experiences with your guest or any guest with Airbnb?
So me personally, I haven't had any horror stories. I always knock on wood. I haven't had any.
Is that because you set up properly from the start?
Yep. So we definitely have our eyes on everything. Okay. So that's the one thing I teach. Like I'm not saying it can't happen to me, but I kind of don't understand how people have properties and they get tore up, because I'm like, you must have literally like had no checks and balances. So we have Ring doorbells.
Okay.
We have
on every property.
Every property.
Okay.
We also have electronic locks. The electronic locks give you notifications as well when people are coming in and out and who has access to the lock. We also have what's called Home Manager with our Wi-Fi systems. So we know how many devices are connected to the Wi-Fi at any given time. So for me, I'll tell you, I've had 2 instances where somebody had to have where somebody tried to have a party, and we were able to shut it down within 30 minutes because we know. Because I teach my students all the time, if that Ring doorbell start going off, keep going off, you better go look and see what's going on.
But what if they came in the back door?
That's why you have to have eyes in the back too.
So you can have cameras.
Front. Yeah. You can't have cameras inside the unit, although I hear horror stories about how some people do that. I would never do that though.
Yeah, they get a little,
I feel like that's violating people's privacy.
A little freaky, like, yeah.
Yeah. But on the front and the back, absolutely.
Oh, wow.
And then you think about it, even if you didn't have it in the back, if you got the Wi-Fi manager to tell you how many people connected, you would still know.
That's a pretty easy way to figure it out. I never would have thought about thinking about listening to the amount of time that doorbell ring goes off.
And that doorbell, I posted a TikTok a couple of weeks ago because I was, sitting at the table drinking my wine, and I said the doorbell kept going off, and I said, dang, they're trying to have a party. Oh well, gotta go shut it down.
So when they do that, do you have to go to the property or do you call them?
So immediately call the guest.
Okay.
And usually you can end the party with just a simple statement. You're aware that parties are not allowed. This also violates Airbnb policy. We are on our way with the police, and everybody needs to be gone by the time we get there.
So let's say, what happens? Do they have to pay a different fee once you discover they were having a party?
Yep. So that's why my son is always like, Mom, you should be glad when they break the rules, because we get extra money. It's the truth. Every time they, like, for example, in my units, you can't smoke inside.
Okay, I get that.
Can't have pets, any of that kind of stuff. But anytime you break that rule, I get at least an extra $300, extra $350. It just depends on what the fine is.
How do you make them pay?
So with Airbnb specifically, they have a whole little resolution process. So you first have to request it from the guests, and you get some guests that'll just go ahead and pay you. Like I had a guy, his son, I don't know what he was doing, but his son was left unattended and just wrote pen all over one of our comforters. And I just told him, like, we're not going to be able to get that out. And he was like, just cash at me $150. If Airbnb watching, I know I'm not supposed to take cash app, but however you want to give me the money, I'm going to take it. But so you request it from the guests. Some of them will go ahead and pay.
Yes.
Of course, you have the knuckleheads that are going to be like, I didn't smoke in your place. Okay. So then you have to give them 72 hours.
Okay.
And if they don't respond, then you're able to escalate it to Airbnb. And now with their new process, a lot of times they'll just go ahead and process it. As long as you show the receipt, show the evidence.
How can you prove I smoke, though?
Ashes, weed crumbs, empty cigarette.
I eat weed. That ain't how that work.
That ain't how that work.
So people actually will leave the evidence and then say they want to dispute it?
They will leave the evidence, or they'll put it all in the trash can, but they're going to leave it somewhere.
Y'all checking the trash can?
Yeah, if I walk in there and it smells like smoke, or the cleaners pretty much are the one who letting us know.
Okay.
Then yeah.
So you don't clean them yourself?
When I started, I was, but that got old quick.
Okay.
Yeah, and I actually hired. So this is the other cool thing. You can charge a cleaning fee.
So I pay you to stay there, and I got to pay to clean it.
Absolutely.
I don't have to do that at the hotel.
All those fees they got in there, you paying for it. You just don't know you're paying for it.
It just ain't called cleaning fee.
It just ain't called cleaning fee. But yes, you get a charge of cleaning fee. So starting out, we always so there's this site called Turnover BNB.
Okay.
That's where you automate your cleaning.
That's another site that somebody done got paid off of.
I'm telling you, it's hundreds of companies that are now $1 million companies all around this business model. So, and that's the one thing I didn't mention. Literally every aspect of this business can be automated. Now, can you have a co-host or a manager in place to make sure all those operations are running as they should? Absolutely.
So hold on. You going real fast.
Okay.
So we can automate every part.
Every part.
What does that look like? Can you tell us that?
So I'll finish the cleaning example.
Okay.
So with Turnover BNB, you create a free host account.
Okay.
You list your property. It's
For
gonna
free?
be for free.
Okay.
It's going to be called a project. When you list your property, you're going to get hundreds and hundreds of bids of cleaners in your area that want to clean. Let's just say it's a 1-bedroom. You're going to get bids anywhere from $50 all the way up to $150, right? You pick your cleaning team, and you can have them come out, do a sample cleaning for you. You can tell them whatever you want, whatever that looks like.
Hold on. They gonna do a sample cleaning?
Yeah, they'll come out and show you like what they do. Like they'll come out, like you can have them, like say you're getting ready to have a guest checkout or whatever. They'll come, some of them, to show you that they're good.
So can I list my personal house and then get somebody to come out and give me a sample once a week?
They ain't gonna do that.
That don't work like that.
Mm-mm.
Oh,
and it's funny you say that because the Airbnb cleaners, they will not clean regular homes.
Oh,
most of them won't.
Gotcha.
They only clean,
Airbnb stuff. Okay.
Because you think about it, it's not as much furniture. It's not, so they don't really. Yeah,
well, I ain't got that much furniture either, so.
But they'll refer you to somebody, but they don't do regular house. Most of them won't.
So they come out, bid on the jobs, or you can select somebody.
You can select somebody, or you can. I mean, I've had to pick somebody before, and they never came out. But so you pick your cleaning team. Right, I always say pick at least 3 to 5.
Okay.
And so you sync your calendar right into the site, and they can see every time you have a checkout and every time you have a check-in, and they can also see when it's same day. Like somebody checked out that morning, you got somebody else coming in at 4. Okay. They can see all of that, and then they just assign themselves to that particular instance.
What if they don't show up? What happens?
So that's why you need a team.
Okay.
Because, of course, there's always going to be emergencies. So the first person doesn't come, then go to your second. So I always say select at least 3 to 5.
Okay.
So you can make sure you always got a backup. And then they go. They're already familiar. And they have ratings, too. So they have 5-star ratings, all of that. And then they go. They're familiar with the platform. So, like, if somebody smokes, they know that they need to upload pictures and all that kind of stuff. So after they're finished, they let you know, like they hit the little clock, they upload the pictures that they're done, and then they automatically get paid through the site too.
So that's automating the cleaning. So now.
And the guest paid for it. Not you.
Paid for it. So I'm going to back up. You said it can all be automated. So I buy it or arbitrage, whichever way. I started. What about picking out furniture? I'm horrible at picking out furniture.
Yep. So you have people out here that will furnish it for you too, of course, for a fee.
Okay.
So you can either rent your furniture and have a place come in and just furnish the whole thing for you, and you pay a monthly fee for that.
Yes.
Or you could pay somebody to come in and furnish. I always tell, like I get guys, of course I have guys in my program, they're always like, well, I don't know what to buy. I'm always like, listen, don't reinvent the wheel.
Yes.
I don't care what it's HR, I don't care what it is. It's somebody. So go to other Superhost listings. Since you don't feel comfortable with that, look to see what they're doing. Pick about 5 of them. Because most of the time, you just like this. You need a nice picture on the wall. You need a sofa set, some end tables, and that's it. It's not like a thing you got to oversimplify unless you want to do a theme and cater to a specific niche of people. If you're just trying to target the average traveler that's coming to the city, you don't have to have any special skill. They just want comfort. They want safety, comfort, and clean. That's what I always tell my students.
Safety, comfort, and clean. All right, so now somebody picked out my furniture. I got somebody that can clean it for me. What else do I need like to automate it? Because I heard you say co-host, and I heard you say a few things. So I got my cleaners, I got my furniture, I got my unit. What else do I need?
So you need to have your inventory automated, because you're going to need tissue, you're going to need paper towels, you're going to need all of that. So unless you're going to buy a year at a time, you need to make sure that's coming on a regular cycle.
Who does that though? Say if I'm in, I don't know, we do a lot of things out of town. So let's say I'm in another city. Who puts that in there for me?
So I'll drop a gem for your listeners.
I love
if
it.
you get a really good cleaner, they'll take care of all of that for you.
Wow.
Yeah, my cleaner, so I knew she was good because when I selected her, she offered welcome baskets to the guests. That's what set her apart for me.
Every guest?
No, it was just like the first couple of them, but I just thought it was so neat that she had that, right? But yeah, anytime she comes, and most cleaners would do this, so make sure you check with your cleaner to, they'll actually serve like your property manager. So they're going to make sure all of your stuff is organized in your stock closet. They're going to be doing the inventory to know what's low, what's needed. If the guest comes, like she would walk them around, show them where stuff was, just the whole nine. And then also, if you want them to handle your guest messages, because you think about it, if you have your messages set up, because that's the other thing we'll talk about, messages can be automated too.
Okay.
Or all of mine are automated. But let's just say you have those one-offs, like, hey, I'm at the door, but my app is not working. A lot of the cleaners now, they offer that too. They'll handle your guest messages. It's only really on check-in day and check-out when they might have a question. Okay. It's not often during the stay. But yeah, that's the plug. Like, sorry, property managers, but the cleaners are the plug. So a great cleaning
person, right? Who does the towels though? Like, if when they clean it, say if you have 4 different guests this week, who handles like the towels, the rags?
So they wash all that stuff while they're there. While they're turning over your unit, they're washing at the same time.
Okay. Wow.
Yep. And if you don't, so I do have a unit that doesn't have a washer and dryer. She drops it to the cleaner for me. Doesn't even charge me extra for that either. Drops it to the cleaner. The cleaner charges like maybe $25 for like 2 bags. So it's not that bad. But yeah, they'll wash because they're already there. They don't mind washing the stuff and prepping it to get ready for the next thing.
You got my mind turning now. So now I got somebody that can clean it, keep my inventory right. I got my furniture. What else do I need? Because I don't really want nobody calling me. I just want my account to change every month.
Yep.
Up, positive though. I mean.
So the only other thing, so you need to have your automation. So we talked about having the doorbell, having the lock, because see with the lock, I tell people all the time, like I could be sitting here talking to you. Somebody can book my unit. They've had a whole conversation with my automated messages. They've already received their invitation to the lock. They've already downloaded it. They're already checked in because the lock is automated too. It's able to be synced in electronically with the booking request. And all of it's automated.
You said that they've already had conversations with your messages. That doesn't sound right.
It's funny. I'm telling you.
So what is that like? So I book and then I say I want to come in at 3:00. Then what happens?
My message responds to you in a couple of minutes and says, hey, Ramon, thank you so much for booking. I'm looking forward to your stay. You can check in anytime at da-da-da-da-da.
Yes.
And here's your instructions for downloading the August lock. You'll use this lock for keyless entry to unlock and lock the door. It's a whole message.
Wow. It changes every time. Does the lock combination change every time on its own?
It knows. So it's actually, and I should show it to you. It actually is timed to the date and time of the check-in and the checkout, right?
Gotcha.
And so what it does is, it's not a code, although I do have a keypad and we can set up a code, but it is literally an app. And what they do, so even while I'm sitting here, I can unlock any door that I have from right here just by pressing this red circle.
What if your phone die?
That's why I have the keypads now.
Oh, see there.
Yep.
What if the power go out? So, I'm looking at reasons not to do it, right?
So,
how we do. We always look for reasons not to do it.
And so because we had somebody one time that had an old phone and one
I was
compatible
gonna say, what about
with
I
any
got a
of
flip
that.
phone?
So we even leave a spare, and we put that in the message too. If for some reason your phone is not compatible with the lock, there's also a spare key under the flower pot, yada, yada, yada.
But then you don't move it the next time? Because I might want to come back.
It.
Oh, you move it.
Mm-hmm.
So that
in between guests.
In between guests.
Mm-hmm. We find different little spots.
Who moves it?
The cleaner.
Oh, you got it. So the cleaner, all right. The cleaner is critical, seems like, in this process.
Yes.
So I got all my automations. I can change the locks. I can cleaners cleaned it. Then what? What's next? That's it.
That's it. It's your guest message. Oh, your pricing. They have software for that too. So in order to maximize, because you think about it, we talked about All-Star Weekend, right? What if you hadn't adjusted your prices and you had left them at just $200-$300 a night? You would have missed out on a whole $5,000-$6,000 that you could have charged. Ooh. So you also, if you don't want to manually adjust the prices yourself, you can do the pricing software that'll automatically adjust your prices for you too.
Is that inside of, like on Airbnb site, or is that?
It is inside, but I don't recommend using that one unless you put a minimum threshold. But there are sites. One of them is called Beyond Pricing.
Okay.
Another one is called Price Labs, where they'll regulate it for. So they know when a big event is coming in town. They know when it's an influx of travel, and they'll regulate your pricing for you.
And the money just keep on coming, and you just keep buying. So this kind of personal, because we all know you got a bunch of money. So as you continue to buy these, right, you have to be disciplined enough to say, you know what, instead of me today going to buy, this month I made $9,000, I want to go buy this bag. I seen it at Gucci. They got a new one. It's a blue one. It's pretty. I just saw it the other day. Right? It's $8,400. You love the bag, but you decide you want to go do another Airbnb. At what point do you treat yourself?
That's a good question, because me personally, I still have not spent that money on me personally. Wow. That money is specifically for getting to a place where I want to be, scaling and getting to that place financially before I'll ever take that money and buy a purse.
Ooh. 3 years from now, 5 years from now, where do you want to be?
I definitely want to, one, have no more rental arbitrage properties. Okay. I think it's a great model. I'll tell you, I call it the rich model. So if you want to get rich, it's going to get you some really good money. But the long-term wealth play is absolutely going to be buying. So definitely have subbed all of my arbitrages out for properties that I own. That just running the way it should. To be honest, I'm trying to get like you. I'm trying to have several apartment buildings somewhere, 10 to 15 or 20 Airbnbs.
I don't have no hair. See why my hair fall out?
I want like 20 Airbnbs in one building and just be done with it. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm cool with having them all over, but you get my drift. Yeah. But yeah, just focusing on those other streams. So the reason why I'm able to not touch that Airbnb money is because I have other streams of income.
Gotcha.
So that's what the pandemic taught me. You can't be relying on one stream. You have got to have multiple streams coming in if you want to survive. And so I'm focused on building up some of these other streams. So at least 5 solid streams coming in.
What is that going to take though over the next 5 years? You're going to have to give up something, sacrifice something. You're going to sacrifice that bag? That nice car, like that, they got a new.
I got my cars because one thing that I've.
Here we go. Now we talking.
Oh yeah. So what I've learned is turning liabilities into assets, right? So I drive the vehicle that I want. I also have a Turo business. Yeah,
I saw you post one day. You list. Let me get this right now, so you can know I pay attention to you. I don't want no problems. You list your cars along with your Airbnb. So you booking this, you need a car. It's like when I book a flight on Delta, they always give me a choice of hotel, rental car business. So you do the same thing.
Yes. So most of the time when somebody's coming to town, they need a car and they need a place to stay.
Yes.
So we have the cars for you too.
Go get that money then. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. So now, not only, like you said, you had other streams. So now your units are rented out and your cars are rented out. And when they're not, you get to drive one of them.
Absolutely. So that's how I'm able to drive the car that I want, because I have other liabilities or assets, I should say.
Can I give you one though? I saw this the other day. They rent bags.
Yes, I
you
saw
seen
that.
I saw
that.
This one lady rented a Birkin bag for, I don't know, I guess it cost 30. She rented it for 10. But then she told her friend, like she rented it for 2 days for 10. She was in Atlanta.
Yep.
Rented it for 10 grand for 2 days, right? To take some pictures and run around Atlanta.
Yeah.
Then her friend rented it a month later. So the person that owns this bag has a free bag that will forever make money. The person that owned that bag said that, and I know them, but they said that they have made enough to buy 10 more Birkin bags.
Yep.
Off that one bag.
Yep. I think I seen that same post.
That's
I
crazy.
thought that was crazy. Yeah. That's creative too.
It's creative. I don't want to rent your shoes in your bag though.
Me either. Me either.
Woo.
And like you, I really like business models where I'm able to automate them and be less involved in the operations. So if I had somebody who could probably do that for me, that would be okay. But yeah, I'm trying to automate as much as possible.
You mentioned co-host. What is a co-host? What does that look like? What do they do? Because again, for me, I want to, as I get older, I want to be able to just travel and enjoy myself. Wherever my kids are, I want to go pop up on them. You know, if they're at college, I want to just pop up and be sitting in their living room when they come home. Hopefully I don't get no surprises when I pop up, right? Or I want to be somewhere we said we want to go to Monaco next year.
Okay.
I just want to be sitting somewhere enjoying life and enough my money is coming in where I don't have any challenges.
Right.
What does a co-host, can they help me with that, or is it just the automations?
Yeah, so the co-host is the person to fill in that gap for you.
Okay.
So that is where it would be 100% passive for you. That means you're not ever having to, the first cleaner counsel, so now I got to go assign the second or anything like that. The co-host would be responsible for that. And that's actually another gem I'll drop for your listeners. That is actually the model too for somebody to break into this business for free with no money.
As a co-host?
Yes.
Is a co-host like a property manager?
Basically, they're like a property manager. And but see, the difference is with some property management companies, of course, they have everything in-house and they're taking care of everything. But you as that co-host, if you know about all the automations, you can set up all the automations for that current host, and then you just oversee that process and make sure everybody is showing up and doing what they're supposed to do.
How do I find a co-host though? Like if they haven't done it and they're not a property manager, give me 3 important things a co-host should have when I'm looking for, because you're big HR, right? 3 important things that a co-host needs to have or be.
Organization skills for sure, and follow-up. Customer service, follow-up, and organization. So all of the accounts that you set up to automate. So this is the thing. As big and as popular as Airbnb is, you would not believe how many hosts still are meeting every single guest or responding to every single message.
You know why?
Because they don't know.
They haven't taken your class.
That's right. Absolutely.
That's why I shut one of ours down.
Yep, they still meeting every guest, responding. All of that stuff can be automated. And so what I teach my students are, you could be that solution to them. They don't even know that they have a problem, but you're about to offer and really show them how they can make passive income. And like you said, go to Monaco and not even have to worry about their unit, because you set up all of the automations for them. And then you're overseeing to make sure they're running smoothly. And you can charge anywhere from 15 to 30%, just like a property management company does. So for example, if somebody's making $4,000 a month, you charging 20%, 25%, you're making $1,000 just off of managing, making sure stuff is working properly. If you get 4 of those,
you ain't got to go to work no more.
Exactly. And all you're doing is managing automated processes.
I got one more question.
Okay.
How much money do I need, like minimum? Like I'm working hard every day. I'm taking care of the kids. We got practice. I'm paying for the games. I mean, I'm talking to most of us out here, right?
Right.
How much money minimum do you think I need to get started? I'm not able to buy my property yet, so I want to arbitrage.
Okay. So that's a little tricky, because me personally, I teach my students that depending on if you're a first-time home buyer, I feel like it's cheaper for you to go buy a house.
Oh, you went deep just then.
Yeah, because, if you're a first-time home buyer, so my first property I bought, I was a first-time home buyer. I didn't pay closing costs.
3.5% down, maybe.
I don't even know. I remember I got up under some kind of HUD incentive they had at the time. I paid $150 for something. And I remember, of course, I did have to pay for the appraisal. Yes. So that was about $325 at that time. Maybe an inspection, another $350. But I mean, it was right at maybe $1,000. It wasn't a lot.
That's a sweet gem.
Right. And so when you're rental arbitrage, when you're going to rent a property, I definitely teach them to look for deals. First month rent free, that kind of thing. But they could ask you for first and last month rent. Okay. They could ask you for a deposit. Like, they could ask you for all of that. So if you're a first-time home buyer, I push that heavily. Like, think about it. Why go give an apartment or a condo or something $1,500, $1,700, $2,000 a month when, like, that same 5-bedroom house I'm telling you about, that mortgage is $1,000?
Oh, that's really your 5-bedroom house?
Oh, yeah. It's $1,000. And I have other houses where it's not. I mean, even the duplex doesn't cost the same as what I'm paying for the apartments. Gotcha. So that's why I'm like, me personally, I'm going to say first time home buyer, that's going to be your cheapest route. It's going to take you a little bit longer because you got the whole closing, 60 days, all of that. Okay, but then specifically rental arbitrage, you need to find deals. So you need to find places where they don't want you to pay first month, last month rent, or they're going to excuse your deposit if you got good credit. You know,
if I got bad credit though?
If you got bad credit, I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna need to get your credit fixed.
But I got bad credit, and I ain't buying the kids nothing for Christmas this year, so I'm gonna save all of that money. So I got $3-4 grand. Can I?
You can. So if you get you an LLC, a properly structured LLC, and you go ahead, because believe it or not, most people don't know this, you can qualify for business credit and business funding as a new business as long as it's structured properly. Okay. So I definitely teach, use other people's money. Don't use that $3,000-$4,000 that you got. Use the bank's money. Ooh. So use that money. Hopefully you've done your research on AirDNA. So you're making profits. And I'm going to tell you this. I don't know anybody that has listed on the platform and then get at least 2 bookings in their first 24 hours. Because one thing that Airbnb does, if you're a new host, they're like, hey guys, we got something new for you. So you're already at the top of the feed. And so most people get 2-3 bookings their first 24 hours. So you're already going to be paying that money back that you used of the bank's money. So I always say use that money, let the Airbnb pay the money back, and keep your $3,000-$4,000 in your bank account.
You know what? When you first time home buyers, but the veterans are 100%. Like if you're a veteran, you can really use this and go make a fortune. You really can. I just thought about that 100 because they all get normally they get 100% financing, right? Wow. So I can start with as little as $0 if I'm organized because I can be a co-host for people.
You can. And automate. And what you're doing is you're solving a problem that some of them don't even know they have. So you're telling them, you're offering to them earning passive income on their property. And here's how. I'm going to automate your operations.
I'm really organized. I take your course, right? I spend my last taking your course. Because this is true story. A lot of people are working 9 to 5, taking care of their kids, taking care of their family. Every time you get, even people that make $150,000 a year, by the time they get to the end of the month, I think my grandmother used to say, well, the month longer than the whatever they say, something about it don't meet the ends or something, right? You know, I'm messing it up, but I need to do something to get out of this rat race, even if it's an extra $800 a month, because that's a lot of money. It is. Right? $800 a month is $9,600 a year. That can change your life.
It can.
Over 10 years, it's $96,000. Or you can do what you said. I got $4 grand now. I can go and invest in something, right? I take your program. You show us all the ins and outs of this business in the program.
Yes. And that's why I believe in it so wholeheartedly, because when I got started, just being totally transparent, I just wanted to eliminate my mortgage. I just wanted to make an extra $1,000 a month because at the time I was focused on 2 other business models that I was doing. And so I was like, I'm just going to start this Airbnb, have an extra $1,000 or $1,500 coming in, let that just run on its own while I focus on this other stuff. But then when it did 2,000, I was like, well, if I go get a couple more of these, this is easily a $10,000 a month business.
Yes.
So now let's focus over here, scale this a little bit more, and then come back. You know what I mean? So for me, it's so many. Like, I wish I could have eliminated my mortgage back, in my 20s or 30s, or even my rent. And so for me to start with one unit and eliminate not only my mortgage, but I eliminated my car note too. So mortgage and car note with just one little old apartment. Like, you can't beat that. Like you said, how many people can really benefit from that? Yeah. I know tons. I know I could have. Yeah. So, yeah.
That's a lot of people. I do have to ask, you paid $15,000 for 1 week for a unit? You paid $15,000. I saw you.
Yeah. So,
$15,000?
Okay, so we've stayed in one that was $11,000.
But wait a minute, though. Uh-huh. So you can afford, first of all, the $15,000 for 1 week, right? That's like that stuff Mariah Carey them do.
No, no.
$15,000 for 1 week.
Yeah. So what it is going back to the Airbnb model.
Yes.
When it's a large group of you, so it was a large group. Okay. It was actually an RPX mastermind that we did. And I think that one was Orlando.
Shout out to RPX.
Right. And so for that particular one, it had to be like 20 some of us. We all had our own room the whole night, but it only cost.
How big was the house?
It was huge. I mean, it was like a mansion. I would say, because it had the pool. It was a $3.2 million house or something like that.
Okay, I got it now.
Yeah,
okay.
And so everybody had their own bedroom, bathroom, the whole nine. But I only paid about $1,100 for the time that we were there. That's all.
Oh, that was sweet.
Yeah, but it was like maybe 20 of us, I think.
So you say you paid $15,000 for one, $11,000 for one?
$11,000 for another. So that was a girl's trip, birthday, and it probably was a good 10 of us, maybe.
Okay.
So again, still only about $1,000, and we all had our own room, all of that.
You got my brain like.
And that was a $3 million property too in Arizona. So that's why I give people these numbers because I need them to know that you don't have to just go get like a smaller property. Mm-hmm. Don't be afraid of these big ones because like in Orlando, yes, that's where the $15,000 a week went. They making a killing down there.
Of course, there's always going to be somebody coming there. It's always going to be a group of people. Everybody take their kids.
So
even like Thanksgiving and Christmas, a lot of people are going there for Thanksgiving and Christmas for the entire family.
They are, and those minimum, and they stay booked up. Like if you don't get it in now, you can't even get in. They're booked up for like 365 days at a time. So think about how much money they make.
You just changed something with me today. Because I'm gonna be honest. I was. We talked about it before. Mm-hmm. I haven't done a lot of Airbnb short-term rental stuff because I'm old school. Mm-hmm. I like when that money just drop in first through the fourth. You ain't paid it, we putting you out. Yeah. Kind of. It's automated in our own way, and we've done some short-term rentals. Mm-hmm. I just didn't have a great experience because it was we got to show up. Yeah. Somebody got to clean it. Somebody got to, right? And so, and I haven't listened to somebody it had to be you for me to really listen to say, you know what, I trust her. I see she's really doing the business. This is not some kind of, I'm just online teaching you how to do it because I read something else. You're in it every day.
Yeah. So my, and I'm going to give you one more point, especially with as many properties as you have. It makes total sense for you to also have your own cleaning company. I have my own cleaning company. So because your own cleaning team, so think about it like this. I tell people all the time, cleaners at a hotel, most of them don't even make minimum wage.
I know, I heard.
Right. But you're going to pay a cleaner probably $10 an hour, $15 an hour. If they take 3 hours, 4 hours, they're still making way more than what they would make at that hotel. You're charging the guest, so you're going to be able to pay that cleaner and still have money left over for inventory because you can charge like $100 cleaning fee. If it's a house, you can charge $2, $3, $4. We paid as much as $400 for a cleaning fee if it was a large house. Yes. So I'm saying all that to say it makes sense once you scale and have tons of property to also have your own cleaning company in-house. But yeah, I mean, because it can be automated, like my 24-year-old, he's about to be 25, he runs ours.
The cleaning side.
Everything.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's my co-host, property manager, whatever you want to call it. He runs because we have the cleaning company. He's making sure everybody show up like they're supposed to. If he have to go clean, he doesn't mind. He's managing all of the guests, making sure everybody getting where they got to go, the tour road, everything. And he's only 24 years old.
He getting to it. Mm-hmm. He's getting to it.
And so I tell people that story because they need to know if he's 24 and able to manage every aspect of the operations, because like I said, 80-90% of it is already automated anyway, then it's no reason why you can't do it.
Thank you. Before we go, can you tell them where to find you? Tell them a little bit about the program and how to connect with you.
Yep, absolutely. So you can find me on all social media platforms at Creating Multiple Commas. And my business model, although I teach Airbnb, I teach several other streams that complement Airbnb as well, because it is all about adding multiple commas to your bank account. So whether that's Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook, you can find me at Creating Multiple Commas. I offer a mentorship where I teach you how to get started in this business. Doesn't matter whether you want to own, rental arbitrage, or do property management. I teach all of those strategies, and you figure out which one is the best for you. It's a live coaching session. Most people don't still do that, but I do. You're with me for 4 weeks. And then I also have an online digital course for people who prefer, a more online model.
Chant, thank you for being on. Thank y'all for tuning in. This has been amazing. You got to go follow this model. This is life-changing. Again, thank you, Chant, for being on.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
All right. We're gonna see y'all soon.
Yeah, I'm going to get him on board, y'all.